the Sports Betting Network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard with you live downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Very busy 3-hour program lined up today, including Tom Byrne on the show in 30 minutes. Host Mad Dog Sports Radio. Very, very strong on the NBA. Absolutely hated the trade. Jeff Seeley on the program, Best Bets, Waste Management. Anthony Curtis, Mr. Las Vegas Advisor. There's a blackjack tournament. This is incredible, by the way, coming to Circa that they're going to put on. He'll tell you about the World Championship of Blackjack and a national sports book offering a bet tracking system that he's surprised they're going to allow people to look at.
Yeah.
And Derek Stevens a little bit later on as well.
And the biggest problem in Las Vegas, and it continues to get worse, biggest complaint.
Yeah.
Yep. He talks to everybody. Yep.
This has been a thing now for, 7-8 years probably?
Yeah.
And I still can't believe that we ever got to this point, and it's getting worse. So with Derek Stevens later on in the show, we'll get his thoughts, obviously, on the Super Bowl number, parties. They have a ton of them down here between all their properties. And that number, Paulie, down to 1, KC. Several books showing 1 here. So they are still a very small favorite, down from 1.5. And in today's newsletter, VSiN.com, Bill 80, who puts it together every single week, talked to Mike Palm here at Circa, and he said second time in 3 years, right, that these teams have played, and the same thing is happening now in week 2 leading into the Super Bowl. Philly money both times. Philly went off as a 2.5-point favorite 2 years ago, and they took a lot of money in the week leading into the game, and the same thing is evidently here, but also Mike Palm said he doesn't think that we'll get down to the point where Philly's going to be favored in the game.
All right, then. One take. What Carl Johnson said last week, and I know at at Caesars in New Orleans, it's an avalanche of Eagles money. So you have what Johnson said, what Gable said at the Borgata, and we'll see if the Eagles money keeps coming in.
Matt?
They should have won 2 years ago. They did whatever they wanted offensively. And I know Hurts addressed that yesterday about how it motivates him and drives him, and he still thinks about it. And maybe he can exercise the demons and get a little revenge, and that's a good angle, too, coming up on Sunday.
I'll give you a reason, and by the way, at VSiN.com as well, like a lot of us here on the network putting together our best bets. You have 4 up there as of right now. I only have 1 at this point, and here is a reason why I still don't have a gigantic portfolio for the Super Bowl. It's because I do have a piece of this Philadelphia Eagles ticket at 16-1 to win the whole thing from the July blackjack tournament here at Circa that Derek and Mike Palm put on. So I have a piece of that ticket. I don't want to hedge. So I have to come up with a game plan overall. And also I don't want to give money away building my props around how I could just, break even in the game. That doesn't make any sense to me because I like Philadelphia. So I don't plan on hedging with the Chiefs at all. I just want to keep adding more stuff with the Eagles. But then if I do that and the Chiefs actually do get me, then I'm going to have a horrific day on Sunday.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I only want to add Eagles players to go nuts. I want to have guys under with the Chiefs because I'm at that point. I'm not betting on the Chiefs getting calls in the Super Bowl that will go their way. Here's what I have in the game. The Eagles are literally better everywhere other than quarterback and coach. Now, typically, I want the best combo there, right? I want the team with the better quarterback and the coach. But that's all they have, in my opinion. I think everywhere else, the Eagles are better in this game. And so I'm not hedging on the Chiefs. I'm not going to do it.
Does it remind you a little bit of the NFC title game? We said the same thing. The Eagles were better in every area, but quarterback and coach. But then they got sloppy and turned the ball over. Who knows? Maybe they beat themselves and Mahomes does turn it over. But it's a fascinating Super Bowl because you have this team that's been so lucky and good, but this year lucky and how they get every break in these close wins. And yet it's how do you go against this guy in a big game against Reed and Mahomes? So I also think that Philly's becoming very popular now. The more you look, and I think not only win the game, people are saying comfortably.
Yeah.
Even our guy Al Lasso checking in, who loves to bet football and has a model, says he thinks they blow him out. And we know our guy Richie in Boston talked to a couple New England Patriots and think they're going to blow them out. So it's interesting.
You're right. The more people I like Philadelphia already, but the more people I listen to who I respect, every person's on Philadelphia. Every one of them.
Yeah.
pro bettors, odds makers, Mike Clay, who's awesome with projections at ESPN. Everybody is on Philadelphia who I find to be sharp on football or who I would respect their opinion on. And if I was already there with it, then I feel like I've just blown money by putting together a portfolio that would be, Chiefs heavy with stuff to go over or to cash with anytime touchdown props or any of that stuff. So that's where I'm at with the game overall. And I think, again, as we go back and look at Barkley's down to plus 250 to win the MVP, by the way. That's slowly coming down as we get closer to this big event. Open 3-1, lasted for about 10 minutes. That was bye-bye. And I get it. It makes sense, and I think that's going to be part of the deal. If he has 100 yards and a touchdown, that's going to be good enough for most voters to say, I got to reward him for his unbelievable season. Were you surprised what Kelsey and Reese said? I have no plans of retiring? Well, number one, if you win, you can't. You can't go. You got to go for the four-peat, number one. But Kelsey just saying, I love coming to work. I love what I do. I'm 35. I have no plans of retiring. Yeah, that one surprised me maybe a little bit. Who was the other one that you said? Reed? Reed, yeah. Yeah, no, there's no way Reed could call it quits after if they would win it again. There's no way. Maybe he sticks around longer. Who knows? But if he goes out coaches another 5 years, who knows? But he said the same thing yesterday as well. It's also so intriguing about first touchdown of the game because there's so many candidates here with the firepower. What you want to say, well, Barkley, no problem, but you have Hurts, you have Barkley, you have Brown, you have Smith, you have Goddard, then you look at the Kansas, there could be a ton of people with Kansas City. And it's really intriguing about what could happen for first touchdown of the game here. Yeah. Well, first of all, I would highly encourage everybody to go to the website and check out Adam Burke's breakdown. He did it every single week for every game during the regular season. And he's got a great write-up this week at VSiN.com on first touchdown score. It's got to be pointed out, too. The very first paragraph, he said, be on the lookout for odds boosts, bonuses to use in this market. No doubt. Some books offer a second chance. So if you bet on a guy to score the first touchdown, and he doesn't, but he scores the second touchdown of the game, it's still going to be a winner. Kareem Hunt scored KC's first touchdown in 5 games this year. He's in back-to-back games. Worthy did it 4 times, Hopkins twice, Rashee Rice did it twice while he was still playing, and nobody else did it more than once. KC scored the first touchdown of the game in 11 out of 19 games this year. That is 58%. They also scored a TD on their opening drive of the game in 7 out of 19 games. That's about 37%. Saquon Barkley scored Philly's first touchdown 6 times this year. Hurts 5 times. A.J. Brown 3. Nobody else more than once. And Philly has scored the first touchdown of the game 15 out of 20 games this year. Get out of here. Think about how impressive that is because they had that streak for a long time where they were not scoring points in the first quarter. Mm-hmm. They've also scored the first touchdown of the game 8 straight games. Mm-hmm. And you had Dotson in the Green Bay game at a huge price. Yeah. 65-1. Also, this is how they're trending. Very hot lately in this market. They only scored 5 times on their opening drive, but 4 in a row. And all 5 scores have come in the last 6 games. Hurts scored the first touchdown of the game 2 years ago. McCaffrey did it last year for the 49ers. MVS did it while he was on the Chiefs. Also, the Eagles have only allowed 5 touchdowns total to running backs. That was for the entire regular season. Josh Jacobs, the only running back on the ground or in the air to score a touchdown against the Eagles in the playoffs so far. I boosted a little bit of Kareem Hunt to get him right away as soon as the numbers came out. I missed the 10-1. I bet him, I think on the boost, it was plus 1150, I think, for a very small bet. Not bad. Yeah, they did have issues against Jacobs. He did have a big game before the injury, and he was a problem. So that could be one area maybe where Hunt. But I'm with Mike Somich. I think it's all about Hunt, and I don't want anything to do with Pacheco props. I'm there too. I think Hunt could have a touchdown and maybe a big game on the ground if that happens. Yep. Yeah, but based on Somich and Matt Brown, this was the Sunday after the title games. They were on making a strong point for Hunt to go over his carries 10.5. I'm listening on the drive home. I'm betting that at a red light. I mean, I'm just okay, I love the breakdown. I got to get on that. And there was a book offering already in town. So I'm okay, I'll bet some on that. And I also bet Worthy immediately at over 4.5. So I do have bets, but just not like my usual 64 by this time come Super Bowl week. I know you like the Chiefs. We're on opposite sides here. Yeah. Well, I know, but I'm with you. I know Philly's the better team. No. It's just the shenanigans and the magic and all the other stuff that occurs. And that's what it is. I know. It's a little bit of greatness, buffoonery by the other team. Every call goes their way, and then just there's a luck factor too.
I mean, there has to be. Look at the Denver game. Look at the Raider game. Look at the Houston game. Dominated in the box score. You know, they had long kickoff return, then they fumble it and they jump on it. Mm-hmm. You know, the two calls on Mahomes as well that were huge, and turned out they got points on it. So, I mean, all that stuff's big. It's just, I mean, to win 17 straight one-score games, you got to be lucky.
You have to.
Every break's got to go your way.
Well, I like what Nick Bogdanovich said yesterday. I mean, how many times would Josh Allen get stopped? And
that's right.
He did get the first down, so that ties into a bad call there that went against Buffalo, and it went KC's way. But how many teams in the league are going to stop him on 4th and inches when he needs to pick that up, in that spot?
But that's great coaching, because they knew he would always go to his left.
That's right.
It's almost here. Getting ready for Sunday in the big game. We're on live, our normal time, 1 to 4. So can't wait to be on the air live with the coin toss, opening kickoff, much of the first quarter. National anthem, first drive, everything, first commercial. All your favorite hosts will be breaking down the action all day long, live from Vegas. Early morning breakdowns, in-game betting strategies, and the post-game recaps, grading all the props. Watch live, VSiN.com, VSiN Watch app, YouTube TV, Sirius XM Channel 158, iHeartRadio, and all major streaming platforms as well. And we'll be live 1 to 4 again. Looking forward to it.
Also, we need some help from the audience in that final hour going into the game. We're going to go inside Mitch and Paulie's Pizzeria, right? So we want to know what your favorite bets are from kind of a long shot perspective here. You can always email the show. It's ftm@vsin.com, or tweet us at VSiN Live, at Mitch Moss Radio, at Paulie Howard. That's going to be Super Bowl Sunday, the final hour of that show. We'll go inside the pizzeria with those bets. Awesome college basketball card tonight. We'll go over some projections of the marquee games and bets we like coming up next.
Those were wild times. Betting squares for the big game has come a long way.
Now with the Circus Sports app, you can select your Circus Squares right at your fingertips.
Everyone's played traditional squares at a big game watch party. Here at Circus Sports, we do it a whole lot better.
Select your own squares and as many as you want.
$1 minimum bet and a $100,000 maximum payout.
And best of all, no more arguing over the squares.
Circus Squares brought to you by Circus Sports, the world's largest sports book at your fingertips.
The biggest football event of the year is upon us, and VSiN's got you covered before, during, and after the big game. We're pulling out all the stops with contributions from every one of your favorite VSiN hosts and experts. They'll be giving out their best bets for the game, as well as breaking down the lines and discussing their favorite props that they'll be sweating throughout. Tune into VSiN starting at 8 a.m. Eastern to catch all the action. And let the Sports Betting Network take you through the biggest Sunday in sports betting.
Dave Ross here at VSiN by the Book, 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Tomorrow, a big show on the docket. Ryan Leaf will be my co-host tomorrow from Connecticut. And then how about some people that have been there, done that? Rick Doc Walker, the DOC from D.C. He's won a Super Bowl there. BMAC, Brian McFadden, 2-time Super Bowl champion, joins the program as well. And, of course, we've got the king of Connecticut, Will Hill, and Adam Burke, our managing editor here at VSiN. We'll see you 7 to 10 Eastern tomorrow on VSiN by the Books.
Here at VSiN, we're getting ready for the big game with our biggest deal yet. $59 off a VSiN Pro subscription. With VSiN Pro, you'll unlock daily expert picks delivered straight to your inbox, as well as exclusive betting splits, pro betting guides for every major sport, and access to tune in anywhere on the VSiN Watch app. Get $59 off a VSiN Pro annual subscription with promo code FOOTBALL. Go to VSiN.com/subscribe now and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Kick around a massive card in college basketball tonight coming up in a second. You know, we talked to Jeff Sherman from the Westgate last week. He brought up the idea that they can no longer offer any props based on referees in the Super Bowl. Can't do it. NFL came to town, shut it down a couple years ago. Not like Nevada, can't happen. So I'm guessing if they did it to Nevada sports books, that means the NFL probably did it everywhere. But offshore books, they can do whatever they want. Yes,
the other big talking point and a question that was repeatedly asked to a lot of people, including the commissioner, was the conspiracy stuff about the Chiefs get every call. And 12 straight playoff games, again, the opponent's been called for more penalties. And they have some good stuff up here. You're right, globally. And this used to be, as we talked about, was in Nevada. But then the cease and desist letter came down. Roughing the passer penalty called is minus 180. Which team will be penalized for roughing the passer first? Eagles minus 160. Which team will have the most roughing the passer penalties called against? Eagles minus 160. Which team will have the most personal foul penalties called against? Eagles minus 130. And Eagles are also a big price also to be called for one as well. I cannot find, though, still who will have more penalties called against them.
Oh, wow, okay.
That's your big one, too. Offensive PIs 4-1. Excessive celebrations 7-1. And will you hear I can award a score if this behavior continues is 10-1. So that's pretty good in light of what happened in the NFC title game. Excellent.
I guess the perfect storm would have to exist again, right? Eagles close to the goal line.
That's
and
right.
Chiefs are trailing.
Yeah.
So they just keep doing it over and over and over again, and they keep lining up with the tush push as well. Or the brotherly shove. Brotherly shove plus 550 first to be set on the year compared to the tush push from Burkhardt or Brady. College basketball here. Kansas blew out Iowa State last night. Couple things. Are we completely alarmed at Iowa State at this point?
You have to be.
With the 3 games in a row now?
Yes.
The other thing is, and look, this Kansas team, good luck trying to figure them out. I wonder what we're thinking of Kansas had they not blown a 19-point lead in the second half to Baylor. And also, what if they were a little bit cleaner at the end of the Houston game?
Well, clean, just make your free throws.
Whatever. I mean, there was 10 times they could have won the game.
You're thinking watch out, good top 3 seed and can do damage.
For sure. Total fluke to lose the Houston game, 5 different times. Last night they blow at Iowa State. And then, a game against Baylor on the road, and Baylor's good, up by 20 at that point. If they win all those games, we're Kansas, I guess, in the tournament, they're going to be tricky to beat this year again, huh? Mm-hmm. But they did happen, so that kind of changes the narrative, I guess, a little bit.
Yep. All right, the big one? Early start, 3:30 Pacific. Love the St. John's team and what Pitino's done. 17-3 against teams with a winning record. They've won every game at home. And it's a big battle here and it's a good price up. Johnny's Red Storm now in some spots, the favorite to win the conference. It's hard to, Marquette's a good team. Maybe it's too much respect for Pitino.
Well, did you realize St. John's 14-0 combined at home this year?
But yeah, strong.
14-0 at home.
Great, right? 19-3 against 18-4. It's a good game tonight to start.
For what it's worth, I do have 5 different sets of projections that I looked at for tonight's card, including our very own Tyler Shoemaker. His projections are up for the college basketball men's and women's card every single day at VSiN.com. Ken Palm, Bart Torvik, some others as well. Every single projection has it going under 147.5. Some of them, Ken Palm has 140, Torvik 140. I see as low as 138.5 in the models. So that tells you that might be an edge there to the under in this game.
I would get involved in play and see how it starts out. And I know St. John's blew a couple of their games, especially the Baylor game. They do have a bunch of comebacks. I think 4 wins this year when they were down 15. So you could maybe maneuver and do something in play as well with that. But I would take it with Marquette. But incredible. Again, college sports, football and basketball, you get the right coach, you can turn it around immediately. And St. John should have made the tournament last year.
Yeah, you're right. Kentucky's at Ole Miss. Ole Miss as high as 4.5. There were some 5s out there earlier today. High total because Kentucky's involved here, 157.5. Okay, so this is Kentucky again. Think about this team has been a little roller coastery as well, right? They go to Tennessee without 2 of their better players. 11.5-point dogs. They win it outright. Then they're 11.5-point favorites hosting Cal on Saturday night, and they get run out of the gym. So tonight, do they rebound tonight? I actually think Kentucky plus 4.5 or 5, if you can still find it, might be worth a bet.
But the league is so good. It's just an incredible league, and you've seen a lot of bizarre results going back. So expect the unexpected. I also think they respond, and I would take the points as well. Joe Lunardi, bracketology, Marquette a 3, St. John's a 6 seed, Kentucky a 3 seed, Ole Miss a 5 seed.
Boy, St. John's a 6 would be uber dangerous, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You're going to have that guy, and they're good anyway, as a 6 seed? I'd like to bet that right now.
I would think they'll only continue to improve that as well. The late game, 8 o'clock Pacific, I agree with the move on BYU. From pick up to 2.5, a tough place to play, 11-1 at home. Joe Lunardi has them playing game. So they need this in the worst way. And what a turnaround by Arizona. Now 9-1 in league, and they could win this thing. Getting a miracle win against Iowa State helped. But I agree with the move here, and BYU needs it in the worst way. We're getting close here. It's almost to the madness and bubble talk. So I think BYU is going to win and cover, and I agree with the 2.5-point move.
Yeah, I'm on the over. I bet it over 152.5 earlier this morning. Both teams are on a 4-game winning streak. As you mentioned, Cougs awesome at home, 11-1, averaging 81 points per game. Arizona's 14th in the country in offense. BYU 16th overall. Both teams are getting a shot up in under 17 seconds on offense. BYU 8th in the country in effective field goal percentage. So I think there's some reasons here for me. And that's the reason why I bet the game over 152.5. I would not be surprised if either or both these teams touch the 80s in regulation here. So, but with you too, I like BYU, but I never got in that pick. So there's also another team playing tonight at home that's 11-1. As UCLA is hosting Michigan State. This should be a really good basketball game. UCLA has won 5 straight overall. Remember they were in that funk, and Mick Cronin called them out multiple times.
Yeah. Well, he's pissed at the travel and what was going on.
Well, but also he he basically called them a bunch of pansies on his team. They just throttled Oregon by almost 30, and Michigan State, what kind of mood are they going to be in tonight after losing for the first time in a long, long time over the weekend at USC? They were laying 5.5 in that game, and now catching 2 against the Bruins in this spot. And this, I think, is going to be a fun game tonight. It's got a total in the 150s, mid-150s. Purdue, I know this was 8 earlier in the day. There's money coming in on Iowa. I think part of the reason why, again, is a lot of the projections out there have Iowa covering that number. I went back and looked at the history. In my head, I had it for some reason that these two teams played a lot of high-scoring games, like way over 156 in recent years. I was dead wrong. They played actually a lot of unders to 156 in recent times. I always like to look at Iowa like team totals over, but I think the number is pretty much spot on for this game tonight, so I passed on this game.
We'll do more on this Thursday. There's a big game in the Valley tonight. Drake is 4.5 at Murray State. I think it's short. Drake is 20-2 on the season. Just had that back-to-back. They lost to Illinois Chicago and then stubbed their toe in the game after. And Illinois Chicago's been great ATS. They only have, I think, 3 road games left, 2 road games left after this, and they're 2 below-average teams. One of them, I think it's Evansville, bad team. Here we go again. This is a great league. They deliver every year. Disgrace what the committee did last year with Indiana State. 6 of the last 7 years, it's been a one-bid league. If they went out and then, would have suffer a loss in the conference tournament to a Bradley or a good team, again, 28, 29 wins, we're not going to put you in with the crap that's out there?
Sure.
Come on now.
I'll tell you this, too. More on this maybe later on in the week as well. People, like college basketball, people are already pushing 2 teams from the Big West, Irvine and San Diego.
I love Irvine.
They're like, and one person pointed out, Lenardi's got Pittsburgh still like the last 4 in. He's like, no chance. Both Irvine and San Diego both belong in the tournament this year. They're like, awesome.
Yeah, they won that. San Diego won at Utah State.
Yeah.
So I totally agree. All right, the huge news yesterday, great response. You got to go up to edgeboost.bet. It's incredible. New sponsor. The outrageous fees they charge. If you over your limit and you want to get cash out at 2 in the morning or go to the tables or place a bet in, and forget about the wire transfer on the weekends as well. Edge Boost has your back. First ever bank account built for bettors. With Edge Boost, all your gambling-related transactions will always be approved. No more headaches. And for high rollers, you can move up to $250,000 a day on your Edge Boost Visa debit card. Unlimited withdrawals. It works 24/7 for instant deposits. Never wait for a wire to clear again. And every time you deposit into a gambling account, you earn cash back rewards up to 0.5 percentage point. All this for no usage fees and no minimum balance. It's a bank account, not a credit card. No approval required or credit checks. They also have a suite of responsible gambling tools to help you manage your bankroll and make informed decisions. EdgeBoost.bet. EdgeBoost.bet. Code FTM. Start at Tier 2 for faster bank transfers and higher cash back rewards. Sign up for Edge Boost today. It's incredible. The presentation was Friday. I was blown away by everyone involved and associated with Edge Boost. This is the real deal and a game changer.
Tom Byrne on the program coming up next. He's big into the NBA, hosts his own show on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Pretty sure he's going to go scorched earth on the ridiculous trade in the NBA over the weekend, and bets that he likes on tonight's board coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup, then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to VSiN.com/pro to join VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
With the NBA here, first of all, it's a pretty damn big card tonight with some really good games on it, and also more reaction to the insane trade that happened over the weekend. Tom Byrne joins the program now, host Mad Dog Sports Radio, Sirius XM, and he is on the Progressive guest line. Tom, thanks for the time this afternoon. We appreciate it. Are you over the first reaction that you had when you first saw Shams break the news on Saturday night, or are you still just blown away by it?
No, I'm still just blown away by it. I don't know how I'm going to get away from it this week, and I'm an Eagles fan, and it's Super Bowl week. But I'd much prefer, rather than Radio Row and all the cliches, Radio Row is terrible, let's be honest. I'd much rather go over Doncic for Anthony Davis. I mean, I know they get a first-round pick, but like I told you guys off air, I truly think this could go down as one of the worst trades in NBA history. And that's saying something because it's a long list of awful trades we could go over when it comes to the NBA.
You're right, and I've never seen this before. Every time there's a big trade, ESPN grades it. They gave the Mavs an F.
And rightly so.
Yes.
If there was such thing as an F-, I would give them that.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know how you could feel good about this if you're a Mavs supporter. I really feel bad for Dallas fans. I guess it gets Jerry Jones off the hook for a couple of weeks because Nico Harrison, when you think about that name in the future, you're going to think about the Doncic trade. I almost feel bad for him. Now, listen, I guess we could all look like fools if they come away with a championship. If they come away with a championship, then so be it. It's a little like the Rockets, 94-95. They came away with Hakeem. They got 2 chips. You can't really bitch that you didn't get Jordan, if you know what I mean, right? So maybe it'll be that situation, but I wouldn't bet on it.
What was the most egregious part of the deal? To me, the part that and I said this on the air yesterday, I will never get over this part. How does Nico Harris, he only talked to one guy. That's it. He only talked to the Lakers, Tom. I'm blown away by that. I always will be.
Which goes to show how bad a trade it is, right, guys? Because if he puts it out there in theory, now some agent leaks it, and it gets all over the place. Other general managers catch wind of this. Social media starts to go nuts. Everybody's clowning Dallas, and now there's no way Nico Harrison can make the trade. So, you know, everything about this is shocking, but you're right. The reality that he did not even allow for an open bidding war. Could you imagine some of the deals they would have gotten? Think about what 34-year-old Kevin Durant fetched.
Yep.
I mean, it's amazing. The Rudy Gobert deal, for goodness sake. Some people are arguing that the Aaron Fox trade got almost equal value. I think that's going too far, but I do get the point. That is definitely the worst part of this whole thing.
I'm still stunned. I'm totally on board with that. It's just absolute lunacy. And then also you have the comparisons of the movie Major League about what ownership is doing. And I see today they're going to refund season tickets to the ticked-off fans as well. That's an incredible move. How about the Lakers' standpoint now? He might play Saturday, but then today at the press conference, Pelinka said maybe we get we'll focus on that in the summer. So what do you think the next move is, or even how good this team is, considering they were 22nd in defense and traded their 2 best defensive players?
Yeah, I think 2 things can be true at the same time, right, guys? If you're running to play the L.A. Lakers to win an NBA championship, you're just donating money. They're not going to do it this year. This is a move for the future. They need a big who can protect the rim. You know, if Mitchell Robinson were healthy, I think that'd be a nice fit. He's nothing offensively. You can't throw the ball down, don't want a low block, but he's a rim runner, and more importantly, he can protect the rim. They're going to have a tough time defending you and I at this point. But again, this is about the future of the Lakers. It's annoying as hell because they always have these superstars to lean on. And so, yeah, I mean, look, this year I'm not thinking championship with the Lakers, but they have a 26-year-old superstar who I believe, guys, and this is not hyperbole, I believe he could finish in the top 15, 20 of all-time players. I mean, Anthony Davis is a Hall of Famer, but even when it comes to greatness, there's levels to this. AD has never sniffed MVP level. I'd be surprised if Doncic doesn't win 2 before all's said and done. So the Lakers were thinking long-term. They can't admit that because they got 40-year-old LeBron, but they're not winning this year. This is Luka's team.
Yeah, don't waste your money on that team to win the title. At the current odds, it's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Tom Byrne, host on Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. So are you in the camp that the Lakers, with the trade deadline this week, Tom, the Lakers do need to move Austin Reeves based on how ball dominant he has to be, LeBron is, and now you add Luka to the mix as well?
Unless they want to move LeBron, who plays a point forward type of role, but I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, I would see if they could maybe get some value back. How they didn't have to put him in the trade with Dallas, I have no idea. They should have had to add him and another number 1 pick, but somehow they kept him. it'd be interesting to see what they could get for him in the open market, but I do think that's a good point. Because Luka, the one down part about Luka, he does have a lot of 2017, 2018 James Harden in him, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, he was one of the greatest scorers ever, but you get the idea. A lot of times teammates get caught standing around and looking, so you need a bunch of guys who could affect the game without the ball in their hands. It's a special breed, right? It's a little like that 2001 Sixer team. You couldn't have anybody else that was ball dominant around Iverson, so they got a bunch of lunch pail guys. In this case, they got to do the same thing. They got to get some catch and shoot sort of guys. So, yes, if I'm Plink, I'm definitely working the phones between now and Thursday, see what I could get in return.
Well, fantastic point, though, as well. Just his greatness, that you don't need that good, great players around because he's going to set you up and give you wide open looks, like, averaging 33, 8-8. How about the Dallas perspective? As high as 40-1 to win the title. Davis could play Thursday. If not Thursday, he'll be back Saturday. Maybe they make another move. What do you think of the Dallas standpoint if they could maybe win a series or two? Take it away.
Well, the West is really good, so I don't see them winning a championship. You want to take 40-1 like you did, Paulie? I can understand that. I told you guys I saw $1.35 for the Mavericks to make the playoffs last night. I thought that was pretty good. I put a little on it. I might put a lot on $1.20. I mean, two things can be true at one time. This is an awful trade. But in the here and now, I can envision this team being pretty good. Now, I didn't love the Caleb Martin trade today. I actually think Quentin Grimes is a little better, but nonetheless, they're going to be an excellent defensive team. They're going to give a lot of people fits. Now, again, they might have to be in the play-in. That's a little dicey. But I do think Dallas is a contender for the next 2 years. But that's the window, these next 2 years. I would take $1.20 for the Dallas Mavericks to make the playoffs. But at the end of the day, I think the best value in the West is Oklahoma City. I love the Oklahoma City-Boston exactas. Either Boston beating Oklahoma City Boston. You could get 8-1. Even better, shop around. I don't think this is Steph and the Warriors versus LeBron and the Cavs. That was like watching a movie you already seen 100 times. But I would be surprised if it's not Oklahoma City versus Boston at this stage in the NBA.
Okay, is there one of those two teams that you actually like more? Do you like the Thunder more to come out of the West or the Celtics to come out of the East a little bit more, or is it pretty equal?
Well, I do like Boston a little better just because I don't think the East is that great. I have a hard time fully trusting the Cleveland Cavaliers. I want to. I love that town, blue collar. They deserve another championship. But we've seen them. They're deer in the headlights, I mean, frankly, in a big spot. So this Boston team, there's a lot of variance there. They shoot a ton of threes, but they could defend. I wouldn't be surprised if that little lull they had a couple weeks ago was more just being bored with the regular season than anything else. The West is going to be a gauntlet every single series. Boston's going to get a couple of gimmies. From that standpoint, I like Boston. I would argue at this point, though, guys, that Oklahoma City is the better basketball team. It's just whether or not you can trust them. They're so young. They haven't even had their second-best player on the floor yet.
Yep.
Keep that in mind with Oklahoma City.
That's crazy. It's a big card tonight in the association, Tom. Is there a bet or two that you like?
Yeah, it's a hold-your-nose type of play. Take the Nets with the 10. It's a tough spot for Houston. Third game of 4 nights, back-to-back. Last night was the spotlight game, nationally televised, albeit NBA TV, at the Garden. The Nets stink, but at the same time, I do think the spot tells you got to take the value with the Nets.
I don't hate it at all. I think it's a really difficult spot playing. They have been through like murderer's row, by the way, leading into this third game in 4 nights. I'm with you there. I kind of like the Raptors tonight, playing pretty good basketball. Knicks played last night. And, all their guys played 37-plus minutes. Is there a future, another one that you might like that's out there?
Yeah, I agree with you, Mitch. I'm going to take the Sixers plus $1.10. I already have. I'm going to see if I can maybe get more. I just looked into it. Embiid's very close. We could even see him tonight. I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't play. But it almost feels like Daryl Morey is just ramping him up so that he's healthy in the postseason. Get him in there with about a month left. Make sure you at least get a play in, and they'll beat whoever's there, the Hawks, whoever it might be. And then they're going to be a complete pain in the ass for whatever it is in their way. I mean, Paul George has not played well, but we know that he's a good player. And the bottom line is when Embiid plays, the Sixers are at worst the third or fourth most talented team in the East. Getting plus money on them just to make the playoffs, the final 8, to me is excellent value. That's another future I would look at.
Yep, there you go. Good stuff. Follow Tom on X. He's at @1TomByrne. Last name is BYRNE, and catch him on Mad Dog Sports Radio and Sirius XM. Tom, that was awesome. Thanks so much for the time.
You guys have a great show. I really appreciate it.
There you go.
Thank
He
you.
was on the Progressive guest line.
That game is nuts tonight because so many guys are game-time decisions.
Oh, man.
Keep an eye on that one because that line's going to go crazy once it's announced who's playing with Philly and Dallas. Get ready for Big Game 59 with a big deal. Your final week to save $59 on a VSiN Pro annual subscription when you sign up using promo code FTM. $181. Full year of VSiN Pro, $181. Every best bet, every host, every guest, the betting splits, DK and Circa, the 24/7 video access, all the betting guides. This goes away after the Super Bowl. Sign up, VSiN.com/subscribe, promo code FTM to lock in your savings, VSiN.com/subscribe.
Win Some, Lose Some is up next, and we have Top 5 Tuesday. Based on our conversation there with Tom Byrne, we will rank the worst or most shocking trades in sports, not just the NBA. Man, the list here that we have, it's so good. That's next on VSiN.
Those were wild times. Betting squares for the big game has come a long way.
Now with the Circa Sports app, you can select your Circa squares right at your fingertips.
Everyone's played traditional squares at a big game watch party. Here at Circa Sports, we do it a whole lot better.
Select your own squares and as many as you want.
$1 minimum bet and a $100,000 maximum payout.
And best of all, no more arguing over the squares.
Circa Squares brought to you by Circa Sports, the world's largest sports book at your fingertips.
The biggest football event of the year is upon us, and VSiN's got you covered before, during, and after the big game. We're pulling out all the stops with contributions from every one of your favorite VSiN hosts and experts. They'll be giving out their best bets for the game, as well as breaking down the lines and discussing their favorite props that they'll be sweating throughout. Tune into VSiN starting at 8 a.m. Eastern to catch all the action. And let the Sports Betting Network take you through the biggest Sunday in sports betting. last night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser! Paulie Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
The Blazers do it again. They've covered 9 in a row, plus 180 on the money line. Not only covered 9 in a row, dogs in 8 of them, 8-1 straight up during that stretch, catching 5 tonight at home against the Pacers. Right back with the Blazers tonight. What a run. Of all teams to pull this off.
Yeah.
Great. Knicks, they were down in the second half from 5 up to 7, won by 6. Hawks plus 160. Trae Young with the winner. Wizards plus 160.
Don't let the Wizards get hot.
Yeah, back-to-back wins. One book opened 7.5. Most books had 11. Thunder closed 18 in the game against Milwaukee. Were they up 20 right away? Nice call first half.
I think led 17 into the first quarter, led by 35, I think, at halftime. That was looking back, I did not have this, but that was a really good spot to outbet Thunder first quarter, half, all of it.
Magic Warriors under 216 down to 208.5 easy. College hoops, the horrible loss by Pitt, Virginia plus 650. They get it done. And UAB from Pick up to 2.5. Subscribe, be part of the team, VSiN.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos. Eclectic mix as always. At Paulie Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in. We'll put you on. We start with a French Bulldog. Can you put the heat on, please? A little cold in here, right? And he just, with his right paw, keeps tapping it. And he's standing right next. Put it on. I'm cold. Come on. How smart is this guy, right? Come on.
Another log on the fire, pal.
That's right.
Let's go.
Oh, God. He's incredible.
Stop pinching pennies at the house.
Yep. Standing right next to it and keeps touching the heater. Can I get it on myself? You sent this in. You know, thinking about a vacation coming up, and you said, how about this? These are sky domes in Utah. Stargazing. That's your room and your suite. Look at that. You can't see in, but that's your room and you see out, and that's incredible as it's a suite in a dome, and you're stargazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Lorraine and I meant to go there for like the last year and a half. I've never been. It's only a couple hours outside of Vegas from what I understand.
Did you price it?
Did not do that either.
Okay.
But her friends love it, and how could you not? Look at that.
Awesome. Thanks for sending that in. There's another one. We're on the bully run here.
Whoa, he's like half alligator.
That's what
What's he doing here? Jeez.
These guys, I got to get one. But some of these guys, you look, they're like tanks. How they're built. It's part gator, part incredible heart. Yeah, look at him. Look at the size of this guy. And he's just like,
look at the legs.
I know. I got a bunch of them. I'll be doing it all week here. I'm fascinated by these bullies, but how they look as well. But look at that face. Come on. Lose some. Streak ended. Sabonis, 14 games in a row with a three-pointer. Snapped last night in the win. What a run. What a run.
But again, it speaks to being careful this week with the moving parts. I said that on the air yesterday about Monk. Monk, I think, had like 5 assists right away because he's been so good. I got to double check that. I think he ended with 5.
Wow.
So it can be a little, wacky here for the next couple of days in the NBA.
Pelicans 13.5 down to 8.5, no good. Jazz Pacers over 236 up to 243, no good. Also ESPN, again, incredible. They graded the Luka Davis trade. They gave the Mavs an F. And one bad beat, Blazers Suns under. It goes over because of overtime. Ready to try something different? Sign up, start playing the Ponies on First Bet. U.S. Base offers wagering on hundreds of races every day across the country and around the world. FirstBet.com, promo code VSiN200. Claim a 20% rebate for your first 60 days, up to $200. Head to FirstBet.com today. We want to hear from you. Here we go. Top 5 Tuesday.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a top.
You ain't first, you're last.
5.
That's not enough, Dad!
Tuesday.
I've been ready for this my whole life.
Top 5 Tuesday.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Follow the money.
FTM at VSiN.com. Tweet at us. Send them in. One of the worst trades in the history of sports, NBA, and the most shocking trade in NBA history. And our worst trade in sports list. This one, I feel just like the Mavs fans. This trade was so bad, I stopped being a fan of the Minnesota Vikings and said no more. In the prime of his career, Randy Moss was 28 years old, the best wide receiver in the game, and the Vikings traded him for a first-round pick who became Troy Williamson and did nothing, and they got a linebacker in the deal from the Raiders. Incredible. Dante Culpepper didn't last much longer. He was out the door, and the organization didn't do much after that, and I can't believe what they did. Horrible trade. You could also say the same thing when he went from the Raiders to the Patriots then. 4th-round pick, and then had 23 touchdowns. Deshaun Watson, 3 first-round picks and the fully guaranteed deal, 5 for $230. They have a losing record when he's in there. His stats are horrific. And what makes it worse is the record with Flacco and taking him to the playoffs when he got hurt.
You know what? The Watson thing might be higher to number one. Might be closer to number one overall.
Yeah, it's a hard list. I know. That's fair. Absolutely. Listeners sent this in yesterday. And I agree. Wayne Gretzky. In 1988, the GOAT. Carson, Jelena, $15 million. First-round pick in 89, 91, and 93 to the L.A. Kings. And they hung Pocklington, the owner, in effigy outside the Coliseum after the trade was done. Oh, so bad.
They had just won their 5th cup?
I think
that's what I read today.
I think you're right. 4 and 5 years, 3 and 4 years. I think you guys can help us out on that. I can't believe it. And just, being a Canadian as well. Okay. You keep the music up, too. Number 3, I have to have Luka. You're right. You're right. The most egregious point is, what are you doing? Why do you not call anybody? And you don't want anybody. It could have been call San Antonio. You want to start the bidding war and invite people to come on in and not just keep it a secret. Lunacy. Number 2 and number 1. Babe Ruth. $100,000 and then part of a loan to fund a musical? Maybe the greatest baseball player ever, from the Red Sox to the Yankees? Asinine. I had that number 2, although it's hard to put a list together when you rank them. And number 1, Herschel Walker. Also, again, it kills me because I'm from Minnesota. 5 players, a first-round pick, 6 other players. Mike Lynn, the GM at the time, unaware or didn't think about it. Wait, if they cut the players, they then become draft picks? Walker did nothing with the Vikings. It built the Cowboys dynasty.
Sure, turned it into 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. It's very tough to rank them in order, honestly. A lot of people are going to say Gretzky should be number 1 overall. I'm not going to argue that.
Sure.
The Walker one is so bad. I will give you 3 to consider.
Okay.
For honorable mention here. If you're like us in your 40s, hell, you might even be. You want to go this one first? Okay, we'll go Wilt Chamberlain to Philadelphia. It happened All-Star Weekend 1965. We were not alive yet. Wilt was 28 years old. The Warriors and Wilt went to the NBA Finals the year before, right?
Okay.
He was traded for 3 players who combined to make 1 All-Star game.
God.
He won 3 straight MVPs following this immediately, and the 76ers won the title in 1967.
Good job.
So
I forgot about that one.
Fox Sports had a great breakdown on this earlier today. We got A-Rod to the Yankees. This is, holy smokes, did I forget about this one. Here's the breakdown. He was only 3 years deep into a 10-year, $252 million deal with the Rangers. A 3-team deal was in place between Texas, Boston, and the White Sox. A-Rod, Manny Ramirez, Nomar Garciaparra, John Lester, Emeglio Ordonez were all involved. The MLBPA nixed the deal last minute. They would not allow A-Rod to take a pay cut he agreed to with the Red Sox. So then he goes to the Yankees for Alfonso Soriano. And he played the rest of his career in pinstripes. That's a killer. And here's where I was getting at. If you're like me, if you're like Paulie, in your 40s, maybe even a little bit older, you grew up. He was the definition of a superstar when I was a kid. I loved Ken Griffey Jr.
Best swing.
Oh, God. He just, everything about him, the way he played center field, couldn't get enough. He was a 10-time All-Star and Gold Glove winner before his 30th birthday. He grew up in Cincinnati. He liked the idea of raising his kids there. His dad was a bench coach. The Mariners traded him after the 1990 season for Mike Cameron and Brett Tomko.
No, you're making that up.
No.
What?
Oh, my God almighty. I cannot even imagine, and I have a ton of friends from Seattle. Not winning a World Series in the mid-90s with that team, trading Griffey, not re-signing A-Rod, and you had the Supersonics, and they bolted.
That's another one. That's a stain
out from underneath you.
I'm sorry. That's a stain on Stern's legacy.
Oh, yes, it is.
How did you allow that to happen?
Yep.
Come on. Great basketball fans.
There was so much talent overall, in every sport in Seattle, and there's other than the 2012 Super Bowl, there's Zippo.
Those teams were good.
Oh, my God, yes.
Randy Johnson, Edgar Martinez, Jay Buhner.
They never got enough help for Randy Johnson in the rotation. Yeah. The offense was all-time good.
Yeah.
But it was, hey, Johnson, can you go out there and give us 8 1/3 every 5th day? Strike out 14?
If I gave you a top 10 list, though, this Luka's trade's on it, though.
Oh, my God. To me, yeah.
It has to be.
It's probably top 3.
Bill Simmons said he's the best generational talent at that age offensive player since LeBron. He's probably right.
Here's a quick question for you.
He averaged 33, 9, and 9, and scored 70 points in a game last year. Nah, we're good.
Ponder this. What's worse, what the Mavericks did or the Angels getting nothing for Ohtani?
Yeah.
Jeff Seeley on the show up next. We'll look at the Waste Management Tournament this weekend, his outrights, top 5s, 10s, 20s, the whole shebang. And we're out.
Okay, give me 1 sec. I need to load funds into my gaming apps.
Stormy, really